everything revolves around our children, right? It's a cycle that by human nature, our kids grow up to continue to provide for their families and to provide for their parents and things as they get older, and everybody relies upon everybody in a matter of trust, right? And so when that cycle gets broken because our children don't have what they need to get through school, they don't have what they need in a family element, a family unit, then invariably too many kids are caught up in crime, either through older siblings who are involved in crime or through family or friends. And so all of a sudden that change from what needs to be done as a family unit is replaced by a life of crime. And that's what I think is important to break. You got to break that cycle.
Many of my clients, I primarily represent adults, but by and large, all of them, or most of them, have a history in the juvenile justice system. And the pattern, if you're familiar with the cradle to prison pipeline, the pattern is that these particular children are the quote-unquote bad kids in their school who have been diagnosed or misdiagnosed with ADD, ADHD, or ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder. Many of them raised by single parents, grandparents, raised in a dysfunctional, somewhat toxic environment, and that carries over to their performance and behavior in schools. So as early as middle school, many of them end up at Henley Young Youth Detention Center.
The facility is designed to house kids between the ages of 10 and 17, and most of the youthful offenders, the 10, 11-year-olds, is usually some type of domestic violence, where they're fighting with brothers and sisters or they're fighting with mom. 13 to 14, 15-year-olds tend to be, begin experimenting with drug use. So that's where you'll find your possession of marijuana and your shoplifting and crimes of that nature, because of the trying to address a particular habit they may have. Older teenagers tend to get involved in more violent offenses, and that's when you begin to see the kinds of crimes that they could end up being charged as adults for.
Like John Knight, who at the age of 15 was first charged with unlawful discharge of a weapon, he would then go on to spend the next years in and out of jail. A former prominent drug dealer who grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. After leaving jail for the third time, he began to mentor using his created nonprofit, Jackson Cares Incorporated, where he helps young men working to clean and build their own neighborhoods by administering community service, cutting the grass, cleaning empty lots, and washing cars.
I come from a hard-working home where my mother was a single mother, like a lot of mothers nowadays, you know what I'm saying? So she worked 2 jobs, struggled from check to check to take care of me and my other 2 brothers and sister. So I ventured out at an early age to do things to try to help my mother better our lives, to keep us from being poor.
It's about institutional racism. This is about the structural racism in America that prevents black people from being able to find employment, that we have poor schools, we have poor everything. That's all because of structural racism. You have poor schools for a reason. That's by design. That's not by accident. That's race. You have poor neighborhoods and communities by design, because people decide where people live based on their income. That's by design. That's race.
Youth crime and crime in general is a reflection of the opportunities which exist in your community and how it specifically relates to the youth. It's about how we're engaging young people and what opportunities we're presenting towards them. Crime is not only about how you police those issues, but it's about the conditions which give rise to it. I think poverty is a significant contributing factor to crime. Extracurricular opportunities have an impact on that. And so if we want to tackle the issue of crime for youth, we have to look at the social work component of that and how we engage young people.
Education is one of the biggest parts of preventing youth crime, and that if we can keep students engaged in school, then they're less likely to want to miss school, or they'll be more motivated, to do well, and they will wind up maybe getting suspended less and the things like that wind up leading often to youth crime.
We've been able to say, look, this kid here is, been in Henley Young since he was 13. He's committed these types of crimes, and based on the type of crime it is, we can pretty much determine whether or not that kid is going to graduate into the adult criminal justice system. So we have to get involved early on. It's important that you provide young people with outlets to deal with, issues that they have. Those who are involved in the criminal justice system oftentimes have suffered some type of trauma. They have suffered some type of mental illnesses. They have suffered some type of drug addiction. They have suffered some type of serious violent act. And you have to work with kids with those types of issues. And you can't do it on a one-time basis. We have programming there.
There's a direct correlation between kids staying in school and graduating and the amount of crime in the streets. People have got to be willing to be invested in their kids and help them stay in school, help them get the education they need, just so that they can be a part of the community and provide for the community, be a good part of the community.
How do we become preventative, that we're fostering an environment which is more conducive for people's development, which seeks to provide employment opportunities, seeks to apply engagement and social components to people's lives. A lot of young people, I've learned, are dealing with issues that a lot of adults are unfamiliar with. They don't know that there are young people that are going to our schools that are hungry, that are frustrated by things that are happening at home, that they're not being supported. And so it's easy to be, to pass judgment on someone when you really don't know, what led them into the place or the condition that they're in,
Keeping our students engaged in class, which would mean, making more interactive lesson plans, making lesson plans that reach the needs of all students, and really trying to make students want to come to school.
You need to be willing, if I have the resources and the means, and I have a group of people, whether it's, like I said, a civic or social group, to say, how can I help? How can I truly help and make a difference? I believe the kids need to see you in their schools. They need to see you in their community.
Youth of our future, right? It's important to stop youth crime because we need our young people. We need them to be here in community. We need them to be living. We need them to continue our legacies, right? We need them to actually create the better world that we want to see.